Hello everyone, welcome to the Curious Technoid. Today we look at fail2ban, a brute force mitigation tool. Fail2ban is a tool used to protect your computers and server from brute force attacks. It's a very popular software. And the good part, it's free. For the purpose of this tutorial, we will configure fail2ban to monitor SSH connections. I'll be using Fedora 31 for the demo. So let's begin. Installing fail2ban is pretty straightforward using your favorite package manager. Fedora's default package manager is DNF, and we will use that to install fail2ban. I have a brand new server built just for this demo. So let's begin. That's it. Fail2ban is installed. Now that fail2ban is installed, let us configure it to start monitoring SSH connections. Fail2ban uses the concept of jails. Any service that you configure is termed as a jail. So anybody trying to gain access via that service will be put into that jail. So anybody trying to gain access to your server through that service will be put behind that jail. The two configuration files of fail2ban can be found in /etc fail2ban. Let's head over there. We are concerned about fail2ban.conf and jail.conf. Fail2ban.conf has the configuration to control fail2ban's behavior, whereas jail.conf is a place where you enable services to be monitored by fail2ban. Fail2ban.conf usually has parameters like what should be the log file name, should I enable debugging or not, and things like that. We are more interested in jail.conf. It is not recommended to jail these config files directly. The best practice is to create a copy of it, make the changes there. Fail2ban will know to use the local copies. Let's go ahead and create a copy of these files with .local extension. Let's open jail.local. We want to enable fail2ban to start monitoring SSH connections. Let's search for SSHD. Ignore the first search results. Head over to the next one. We can see there is already a template with few parameters already configured for SSHD, but then SSHD is not yet enabled. Let's go ahead and enable it. Leave the rest of the parameters as it is. Add one more parameter called max retry is equal to 3. What we just did is we enabled SSHD to be monitored by fail2ban. We also said that if anybody enters incorrect password more than 3 times, block that IP address. Just like that, we are telling fail2bans to start monitoring SSH connections. There are few other configurations I usually tweak. Let's go ahead and change those. One thing I always do when I configure fail2ban is to add my own IP address to the exception list. To do that, search for ignore IP. You can see that the ignore IP parameter has been commented out. Remove the comments. At the end of the line, add your IP address. In my case, it is. The next thing that I want to change is ban time. What this actually means is for how many number of seconds or minutes you want to ban the particular host. There might be chances where a genuine person entered incorrect password thrice by mistake and he got blocked. So after a certain period of time, you might want to unblock him. So fail2ban will automatically unblock the moment this particular ban time has been crossed. So let's change this value to 4 hours. So if fail2ban bans a particular IP address, he will be blocked for 4 hours. After 4 hours, he can again try to connect again. And the next thing that I always want to change is find time. What this does is, it tells fail2ban that within a span of 10 minutes, if there are incorrect password entered more than 3 times, then block him. The more than 3 times is defined by max retry in our SSHD service connection setup. So I usually want to change it to 60 minutes so that in a span of 60 minutes, if there is an incorrect login attempt to my server for more than 3 times, it will immediately block it. Now that we have configured find time, there are few other things that I usually change. Let me search for backend. By default, the backend option is set to auto. Specifically in Fedora, there is a problem. If you do not redirect the logging through journal, it will throw error. So instead of using backend is equal to auto, I will change it to systemd. Now the logging will be redirected through systemd's journal. If you do not set this value, when you start the fail2ban service, it will throw an error in Fedora. I've heard that in other distros like Ubuntu and Debian, it's not a problem, but I've never tried it. The next option I want to change is ban action. By default, fail2ban looks at IP tables for blocking. I personally use firewall-d as my firewall management tool. So let me change this so that fail2ban start looking at firewall-d for blocking and unblocking IPs. That's usually are the parameters that I change. Let's save and exit. That's it, we have configured fail2ban. Let's just check if the configuration is fine by running this command. We can see that the server is ready. Let's go ahead and start the fail2ban service using systemctl. Fail2ban is running. Fail2ban is now running and monitoring all SSH connections for any unauthorized access. Why don't we see it in action to make sure that it is working fine? Let me just get one more terminal open. I've just opened a new server to my development server on the right window. On the left window, we have our fail2ban configured server. Let's start monitoring any connections to our server. So to monitor that, the log file is stored in var log fail2ban. So let's go to var. Now what we'll do is we'll try to connect to our server from my development server. I will say SSH root and the IP address. It'll prompt me for adding it to the known host. Now let's try to enter a junk password. You can see that fail2ban has started monitoring our IP address, which is this. Let me just expand this a little bit. This one. So let's try to enter again an incorrect password. So we can see that it is constantly monitoring it. Let me try to enter a junk password again. If you can see, my IP address, my development service IP address has been put into the ban. Now if I try to connect again, it will immediately refuse the connection. No matter how many times you try, it will not even prompt you to enter the password, because fail2ban is actively blocking this particular IP address. So I guess we completed the configuration. We also took care of this. There are some useful commands that might come in handy while using fail2ban. Let's look at those very quickly. We can check all the services that are configured to be monitored by fail2ban by running the command. We can see here that the number of jail is 1 because we've configured only one service, that is SSHD, and the service name is SSHD. So to see what are all IPs that are blocked by fail2ban, we can do fail2ban. This will tell us that the banned IP list is this. There is only one IP that is currently banned, and that is this. If you want to unban this IP, you just have to run we are saying unban this IP address from monitoring SSH connections. So now if you run the status, you can see that IP banned list is blank. Let us say there are around 10 IP addresses that you want to unblock in one go. Rather than typing one by one, what you can do is you can always do fail2ban I'm sorry, I should give unban IP. What if you want to unban all IPs in all services? Very simple. You do this. That's all. Since we don't have any other IPs blocked, it is showing it as 0, or else it will show the count of IPs that have been unblocked. Debugging and logging. We can enable debugging in fail2ban.conf file. I will not open fail2ban.conf. Instead, I'll open fail2ban.local, which we created in the beginning. Let me add some line numbers to it. I'll go to line 24. Change this to debug. Now if you start monitoring the log file, I don't see any difference. We need to restart the fail2ban. I am so sorry. Let's do this. Systemctl. Then if you start monitoring it, you will see that debug is enabled. This will give you much more information in case there is a problem so that you can debug to find out any issues. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.